What is up, and welcome to another edition of the Bruin Bible. We have a very special guest in the house, the starting right tackle from UCLA Bruins for the 2020 and 2021 seasons. You're going to have to watch him on Sundays from here on out. It's our boy, Alec Anderson, formerly of the Bruins. What is going on, brother?
Nothing much. Thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate you guys having me out.
Dude, we are stoked to have you. And before we get to all the questions, I got to learn your background, what motivated you to come to UCLA, what's motivating you to play on Sundays. We got to do a little bit of an ad read before we dive deep into that. And that's with our new sponsor, LAFB with Bet Online. We're finally here. The top teams in the Major League Baseball season, as well as the NBA playoffs, have been determined, and the seasons are about to start. Looking to wager on these games or in the NBA playoffs, head over to betonline.ag on your desktop or your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use code LAFB to get started. BetOnline remains your number one spot for all updated odds and info, along with player props and new contests throughout the year. It's the best source for all your sporting wagering needs, including live betting and everyone's favorite Vegas casino and poker games. It's super easy to get started. So join today. Learn why everyone is saying BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on sports. BetOnline, where the game starts. My man, Alec Anderson in the house. I want to take it back to the very beginning, man. And it's really cool to hear all these journeys of players that are going to, be taking their talents to the next level. When was the moment for you growing up that you kind of fell in love with the game of football? Was there a singular moment? Were you always attracted to it? Were you playing youth football? What brought you to the game of football, so to speak, Alec?
Well, I mean, I've always loved the game of football, just the intensity of it, the violence of it. It's really something that I've always loved about the game. And because, growing up with a lot of cousins, about 35 cousins,
Whoa.
There's a lot of people. There's a lot of wrestling going around with the male cousins, a lot of football games during Sundays. And so it just always attracted me. I would say I really fell in love with the game probably when I first started playing it back in 2008 when I was 8 years old. It was just the first time I put on the pads and hit. It was just an amazing time, and I just had such a attraction to the game. Just everything about it I really loved.
So you're playing youth football. Were you always the big kid, or was it like a late growth spurt? Because you're 6'5". How much do you weigh, my man, if you don't mind me asking?
305.
6'5", 305. So you're a massive dude right now. How big were you like back then? Were you always the biggest kid on the playground, so to speak?
I wouldn't say I was the biggest. So I was relatively average height, average weight when I was a kid. And then middle school, I kind of put on some weight. And freshman year of high school, I was about 5'9", 195. And then coming into my sophomore year, I had a huge growth spurt, and I went from 5'9" to about 6'5", 215. And so, it was, not the greatest time. It was very painful for the growth spurts, but it was just part of that process that I had to go through. And then junior year, I was 215. And then the start of my senior year, I was 6'5", 305 pounds. So put on a lot of weight. I love my parents. They helped me a lot through that. They put me through training on the off seasons. My mom, God bless her soul, she made all that food so I can gain all that weight. And then now I'm here. So it was a great time.
God bless the moms out there in general that are so supportive of everything we do.
Exactly.
Did you always it doesn't sound like you were always a lineman. What positions were you playing before the O-line? Because 5'9", 165, your freshman year, you're probably looking at other positions. You might be like a slot receiver at that size for all we know.
So first position ever in Pop Warner, I was a quarterback. And then I went to linebacker, and that's kind of where I stayed my entire time playing Pop Warner. And then I played some defensive end. And then high school, I was a defensive end / like linebacker when they needed me to be. And then I kind of made the switch my sophomore year once we got a new offensive coach in high school.
I love it, man. And you had like an Anthony Davis like growth spurt, with the guy for the Lakers, because he went from like 6'4" his like junior year to like 7'1" by the time he was done playing high school basketball. Yeah. You kind of had a similar growth spurt, man. That's like 8 solid inches right there. And I feel like, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you having played all those other positions, I feel like it made you probably a better lineman adjusting that, because you understood how the game works at so many different levels.
Yeah, it was awesome because, I mean, I was athletic when I was a linebacker and defensive end, so that kind of really stuck with me once I put on the weight and the height. Once I became an offensive lineman, it wasn't that much of a hard switch to happen when like coming to footwork and the technique wise, because you got to be athletic to be an offensive lineman. I don't want to put it out there, but I got to. People say we're just the big fat guys, but you got to be pretty athletic to do what we do.
Oh no, especially in a Chip Kelly offense, man, as you
Yeah.
know more than anyone. You got to be able to move those feet, get out in the open field at next level, making the blocks downfield. You went to Etiwanda High School out in Rancho Cucamonga, correct? What made you want to go there? Because I've been looking you guys up. You guys do have a lineage of players that have made the league. Marvin Jones is from there. And two offensive linemen are in the pros right now, and JJ Unga and Chris Barker. What made you want to go to Etiwanda? Because you guys do have a history of great athletes there. I saw Maurice Edu was there, Darren Collison, former Bruin, right there as well. What made you want to go to Etiwanda?
That's just where I went. There's really nothing crazy to it. There wasn't any recruitment or hard decisions. I went to the middle school right down the street from my house. It was like a 5-minute walk, so I went there. And then my dad went to teach at Etiwanda. He taught at Altaloma, and then he became the girls basketball coach for my sisters. They both played there, and then we just kind of followed suit and we played football there. We also did wrestling there. My brother and I did. And so it was just that's where our family went. When my dad taught there, we went there, and we just all attended it.
Very cool. So your dad's a teacher. That probably makes you a coach's favorite because you gotta do all the little things right when it comes to
Exactly.
that. So I followed your recruiting profile as well. You weren't always a Bruin, if I'm correct. You committed to Washington State. Correct me if I'm wrong. Chip Kelly comes in and he's looking for players around. He reviews your tape. He gives you an offer. How quick were you to kind of just go, hey, I want to stay close to home? Or were you dead set on Washington State? What was kind of the process like for you? Because you also had offers from other Pac-12 schools such as Colorado, Utah, Oregon State, schools like that.
So with that situation, I was committed to Washington State. I love the campus of Washington State. Love Pullman. It was really a college town, what I was kind of looking for. And then Coach Kelly came in, and he loves the athletic offensive lineman. And I was really sitting there thinking, wow, I mean, I fit that mold pretty well, I'd say, as a tackle, and or I could play guard also, it's just I could do everything. And so really thinking back and talking to my parents, it was also nice to stay home, but then B, just being able to put my athleticism out there for the NFL to see. I thought that it was the best move for my future. And I mean, I think it ended up pretty well for me now that, looking back on it.
Dude, I mean, you look like you had an awesome experience there. Started your last 17 games there, was a stalwart at the right tackle position. But you got on campus, and it took you a little while to kind of get into that starting lineup, as it does for most linemen. They call it the redshirt year for a lot of these people. I had a buddy that went up to Oregon and played, and he had the redshirt, 2 years before he got on the field. What was that experience like to kind of earn your keep there at UCLA? Because it's not an easy job to be a starting tackle at a Pac-12 school, especially, Justin Fry is like, the guy at the O-line position coach. He's at Ohio State now. Like, he's doing his thing. What was your UCLA experience like, earning your spot?
My UCLA experience was like anybody other, I'd say. It was a really hard grind. Going in from high school to college, you really think that, you're a top dog because you're getting the recruiting stuff and all that. And so you're really thinking, well, I can go in there and I can start. And then you get there and you have some grown men in front of you that are trying to essentially do what I'm doing now, is feed their family. And so you really have to grow up quick. And, you have to just be like, all right, I'm here. This is my full-time job. I got to go to school also. And so it was a very fun experience, I'd say. Coach Fry really pushed everybody to their limits, and he really wanted to squeeze every ounce that he could out of you, and he got that from everybody. My freshman year, I went there. Andre James, who's the starting center for the Raiders now, he was at left tackle, and I kind of was grateful to be behind him my freshman year and kind of watch how he was working and really see his preparation on and off the field of how, a starter starts and how a starter holds themselves on the field and how you can really be great. And so I wouldn't say that not redshirting is a bad thing, because if you're ready to play, you're ready to play. But it's also good to see somebody show you the ropes and show you how to be a man inside of college football. And I think that Andre really helped me, and also that Coach Fry really showed all of us how you can be able to squeeze every ounce of yourself into college football and into a major Power 5 school as well.
Do you remember your first start? Like, what was that feeling like in the locker room before going out there? Because, dude, I mean, it's probably just like going out in front of like 50,000 people. Just you're going nuts probably inside.
Yeah, so my first start was 2019 versus Oklahoma was our
Oh,
second game. Yeah, and so that was crazy. I was really sitting there like, dang, it's here. You know, this is going to be my dream. This is what I've really worked for. And that first snap, you're kind of very jittery, and you don't want to jump off sides. You don't want to have a false start because then you're going to look dumb. And so after that first play, I was kind of like, oh, okay, it's like high school, but way faster. The guys are a lot stronger. And so from there, it was just great. It was a great experience being able to start in at the Rose Bowl that first game versus Oklahoma. And I really thought that set the tone for my collegiate career.
and it was really cool because you got to experience the beginning of the Chip Kelly era. And, it was tough for a lot of, fans and players included. But you guys have really turned the corner, man. And I think that last year, unfortunately, the bowl game didn't happen. But just to even be qualifying for a bowl game, when the last bowl game was in 2017, before you even stepped on campus at UCLA, that's such a huge achievement. What was your experience like, playing with Chip Kelly and getting this team to the heights that you guys always believed you could?
Coach Kelly's a great coach. He really pushes us on the field, but also off the field. He wants us to really strive to do what we feel passionate about. And so it was great being able to ask Coach Kelly, with all of his contacts and people that he know, like what we could do to pull some strings that actually help us get a kickstart on our careers after football, because he's very adamant about us being able to have our plan B, as he called it, and plan after football to set ourselves up for success and really be able to not just be those jocks that everybody think that we are, but we're actually able to comprehend what life is outside of football. And I think Coach Kelly did an excellent job on that. And I believe that he is probably the greatest coach in college football right now, with his players saying that he wants us to be great in everything we do. And he really believes that, and which makes us believe that we can do it also.
Man, it sounds like a hell of a coach to play for. I love
Yeah.
what I hear from Chip Kelly. What an awesome dude, man. I'm going to throw out some of your teammates that, were kind of the faces of the program with you. And I just want you to list the first thing that comes to mind. Sean Ryan, the left tackle to your right tackle. What do you got to say about Sean Ryan? Because he's going to be playing on Sundays as well.
Sean's a great guy. He's very funny. I would say he's a funny dude. He's very team oriented. He loves the team. He's like me. He'll do the same. Whatever you ask the team that you want from them, he'll do it. And I think that Sean's going to have a long career in the NFL. And I think that he's just as a hard worker as everybody else on the team. He really pushes himself to be great, because I know he has it in him to want to be doing great things with his football career. And I think Sean was probably another anchor on our offensive line these last two seasons that really gave us success.
I love it. Sean Ryan was, you guys were such a great duo just on the right and left tackle. We felt confident every, Saturday coming into games with you guys playing at both tackle spots. Kyle Phillips, I feel like he was a guy that was just super underrated during his career, and he really kind of got to show what he was capable of this last year, in terms of the receiving numbers popping a little bit more than they used to. What does Kyle Phillips mean to UCLA and you as a teammate?
He's a good friend. I would say he's a very good person outside of football. And I think people need to start realizing, we're football players, but we're also people on the outside, and people don't give us too much credit outside of football. And I'd say that Kyle's one of those real down-to-earth guys. He's really relaxed, chill. And then once he gets on the football field, just the switch is flipped, and he just goes crazy. He puts up the numbers that he does every week, and I think he's probably going to be one of the greatest wide receivers that was at UCLA. Just speaking on how hard he worked on the offseason, that man would push himself to the brink of almost death, I feel like, just because he wanted to be so great.
He was so much fun to watch, and I'm sure he's a phenomenal dude off the field. I'm excited to see what he does on the field and off the field at the next level. Zach Charbonnet, just the pure strength I've seen from him as a running back. That must be a guy you love to block for, because, boy, he's chewing up those extra yards. He has maybe the strongest legs I've seen at the running back position of any UCLA player in recent memory. What's it like playing with him?
Zach is a beast. It's just one word. He's a beast, man. Zach does not let anybody tackle him. He does not want to be tackled. He's just going to keep running. You saw it in the LSU game. You saw it in the Oregon game. That man just runs. Once he gets the ball, he's Terminator. He has tunnel vision, and whoever's in front of him is going to get demolished. Like, no one will tackle him if he does not want to be tackled. And it's really a heartwarming thing as an offensive lineman when a running back actually hits the holes we make for him and doesn't bounce it outside, because Zach is not afraid of contact. I would say he loves contact. He loves learning those pads, lowering his head, and he just, puts those muscles to work. So it's a very big honor to be able to block for him last year when I was playing at UCLA.
Guy's just a stud, and it's really cool to see he's coming back too. Like,
yeah,
he wants to make like a legacy at UCLA, can kind of continue the success that you guys have. I got two more guys for you. The first one is Greg Dulcich. Such a cool story as a walk-on, to be able to become an NFL draft pick now. I think it's, just a respectable thing. That guy's had to earn everything he's gotten, So what are your impressions of Greg? He seems like an awesome dude as well.
Greg's a funny guy. He's quite a comedian when you really get to know him. He's a hard worker. I would say another one of the most dedicated people in the off season to making his craft how we all see it during the season. He really takes care of his body. I'd say he's a great person. He's always in the training room getting treatment on anything that hurts, anything that's bruised. And I would also say he's a very, very team-oriented guy. He always puts the team first and does what we need him to do to be successful, which I love about him.
I love it. And then the last guy I got for you is the quarterback coming back for his fifth year. You've blocked for him quite a few times. Dorian Thompson-Robinson. It looks like, this last year he finally took that next step, and we're really excited to see where he's going. He seems like a phenomenal human being too off the field. I just want to get your impressions of blocking for DTR, because it seems like the line really rides for their guy back there.
Yes, Dorian's a great quarterback. I'd say this year he'll probably be one of the greatest quarterbacks in the country this year. And I think that these last 2 years, he really has matured as a player and as a person to wanting to make the whole team better collectively and not just himself, which was great to see because, Coach Fry really was getting on him this offseason when he was, scrambling a lot. He really made him want to sit there in the pocket and throw the ball like a good quarterback. And so that really helped us out as offensive line because we weren't trying to look left and right to see which way he was running. We had faith in him and he had faith in us that we were all just going to do our job. And it showed. We went 8-4. Sadly, we didn't get that ninth win in the bowl game. But I think this year Dorian's going to have an outstanding year, and he's really going to show the scouts like what he's made of and how good he actually is.
I'm excited, man. In one of those bye weeks, we're going to need you to come out for a game of UCLA football. We do a big tailgate with the LA Football Network. We'd love to have you by the tent, buddy. We got to move on to what you're moving on to, and that's the NFL draft. What has the preparation been like? Where are you training? What's going on with that whole thing out?
So I was training out in Bomarito's in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and that was a good experience. I'm a California kid. I grew up in California my entire life. And it was really awesome to just fly out to Florida and see a different way of life. I mean, not too much different. It was kind of like California, just on the East Coast, and the time difference was different. But I mean, other than that, it was California. It had beaches, it had water, it had some palm trees everywhere. So I was living it, and I loved it. And so that training at Bomarito's was awesome. It was really what I needed. I feel like to have a good pro day like I did, and to really wow the scouts on my pro day. So I believe that Bomarito's really helped me to be successful.
What is the hardest part of training for the draft, and then just like the easiest part of it? Because, you can only compare it to people that have done it before. I have no perspective on that matter. So I'd be interested to hear your stance on it in terms of the most difficult and easy thing when it comes down to it.
I would say the most difficult thing in training is really sacrificing, like you've remember really sacrificed before, because in college during season you sacrifice your weekends, but it's college football, you love doing that. And so now it's really kind of just sticking to that process the entire time from January to really April, whenever you get picked up from a team, because the training doesn't stop. And so for me, I would say, you see your friends having fun, you see your friends on spring break, and you're like, I don't have practice, but I got to do this training because I have a bigger goal than just going out and getting a little fun, a little lit during the weekend. So I would say that. But then the easiest part was really, for me, I would say being dedicated, because my parents really instilled that to me as a young child. And so once you're committed to doing something, I feel like you have to put all your effort into that. And so that was easy for me to say, okay, I'm here. I would rather be doing that, but this is what I love doing. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So I'm just going to put everything I have into it. And I think that was really easy for me to recognize the delayed gratification for my efforts that I'm doing now.
I love it, dude. And you're well on your way, man. We have complete faith in you, the Bruins Nation. We're super excited for you, Alec. I want to, like, you can tell me these, and if you can't tell me, that's totally fine as well. Have you been able to meet with any of the NFL teams before the draft?
Yeah, I met with a couple teams. I've had some meetings with them. I'm flying out to the Raiders this week, actually, to go do a workout with them. So that should be real fun. And I think this whole process is an amazing process. It's fun being able to start living out my dreams that I sought out after as a child. And so it's just an amazing time right now, just kind of really soaking it all in with my family and my friends that have been here with me from the start.
I love it. It'd be super cool if Colton Miller was on the left side and you were on the right side. Just be a UCLA and Andre James for that matter, right? Yeah. Man, you'd have a whole UCLA line there. It'd be pretty sweet. Alec, you've been so gracious with your time, man. We just have one more thing for you. It's kind of a speed round of questions to kind of get you going here. This is the Bet Online speed round questions. So this will be the first we've done it with. I'm super excited that you are our first guest. Favorite musical artist, Alec?
Favorite Prince.
Prince, I love it, man. Little Red Corvette, one of my favorites right there. Favorite food? You win, you go out, you beat USC like you did, this past year. You can have any meal in the world after to celebrate postgame. Where are you going?
I'm going to my mom's house, and I'm having her spaghetti and meatballs. Those things are undefeated, man. That with her garlic bread on the side, masterpiece.
Dude, I'm such a sucker for bread. Like, we used to go to the Italian restaurant, and I would eat the whole plate, when I was younger. And still, like, a part of me wants to do that to this day. Favorite vacation spot, Alec? Where do you like to go to let off some steam?
San Clemente State Beach. That's where I've always gone camping for at least a week as a kid. And so I think that's where I really go to decompress and kind of have myself to recuperate after the season. And I just love it there.
Love it, man. Are you a big outdoorsman in general?
Yeah, I love going camping. I go camping every summer. I like doing hikes, doing anything outdoors is fun to me. I like doing building stuff with my hands. I like using my imagination to come up with new stuff. Always coming up with new type of different investments, man. Try to become a millionaire.
I love it, dude. Well, you're going to have the opportunities to, really take those investments to the next level. I'm stoked for you on that. Favorite player to model your game after, Alec?
Trent Williams.
Oh, monster. You're trying to slam guys on the ground.
Exactly.
That might fall into my next question. Do you have a favorite pancake that you were able to deliver at the college level where they're replaying in the film room, whole team's getting up, they're pumped up for you? Look at what Alec did. Was there a moment where you just hyped about a pancake you specifically got?
I would say probably the 2020 season when we were playing USC. I came around on a kick-out pull and absolutely flat-backed one of their guys. It was an amazing hit. I'll send it to you later if you really want to see it.
I got to see it. I mean, it's one thing. It's a UCLA pancake. I'm all the way in on that. The fact you're doing it to SC too, dude. I mean, yeah. I got to see it, man. So we'll have
to. Adds a little bit more flavor to it, man.
You'll have to DM me like the clip after this because I'm more than willing to watch it. Favorite UCLA memory?
Favorite UCLA memory? I probably have two. My first one would have to be my freshman year when I got my first time to play in a college football game against ASU. That was really memorable because my parents were able to come watch me. They drove from Vegas watching my sister play basketball on her senior night. They drove all the way down to come watch me play at ASU. And so that was really memorable. Or my other favorite memory was probably beating LSU and beating USC this year by the amount we did for both of those teams. Those are two really awesome memories that I loved.
Dude, totally awesome. Last question I got for you. Favorite athlete not in football?
I would have to say Kobe Bryant.
Kobe, the Black Mamba. What a fitting end to this podcast, man. Alec Anderson, thank you so much for coming on, dude. We wish you nothing but the best from LAFB. Bruin Bible, we are officially out.